Hello, my friends. I'm so excited for today's live because, as you guys know, it is the 1st of March, and so we are doing tarot for the month ahead for March 2015. So what I would really recommend you guys do if you have not done this already is if you're watching this on replay rather than watching it live, I really would recommend taking a pause and going to watch or rewatch the tarot for the month ahead that I did at the beginning of February. So you can see, okay, how did February go? I just listened to my tarot for February right before popping on to do this live for y'all. And spoiler alert, February was exactly how I said it was going to be. Not exactly in the ways that I wanted it to be or anticipated it to be, but that's just kind of how it ended up going for me. So I'm curious how February was for y'all and if the February 2025 tarot forecast ended up coming to pass for y'all. I'm assuming it probably did for most of you, but definitely do go give that a watch or a listen if you want to. And it's probably good. It's good to look ahead, but I think it's also really good to look back, right? So what I would also recommend is watch this today, and at the end of the month, watch it again and be like, okay, here's how that landed for me, because tarot is both a tool to help us check out the future, plan for the future, check out what the vibes are, and then also to reflect on the past, right? So both. And excuse my sniffling. I've got allergies, y'all. So if you're watching live, feel free to say hello in the chat. I'm always curious where y'all are viewing from and how the first few hours of March have been for you guys so far. So, oh, hi, Joanna. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank y'all. I try. I try. I feel like the natural light does half the work, to be honest with you. So, all right, let's see. So we did have one card fall. So I'll get to that in a second. But let's see what else we got. What do we need to know for March 2025? There's a lot going on astrologically this month. Eclipse season begins, I believe. And I also think that Venus retrograde begins today. Personally, I'm really excited for Venus retrograde. I've decided I'm in my joyfully single era. So Venus retrograde, I'm looking forward to just focusing on me. For some reason, we're needing a bit of a shuffle. Sometimes that happens. All right, we've got 2 reversals so far. What else we need to know for March? What is the vibe? Okay. Interesting cards. Nothing bad. Oh, I don't want to jinx it. Yeah, I jinxed it. Okay, actually, yeah. Let's start with this. Okay. Very interesting sequence of cards. Okay, before we get rolling, I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay, let's start. So first card that we got, this one fell. Ace of Cups reversed. So if you are looking to start a new romance this month, that's probably not going to go very well for y'all. Ace of Cups reversed. If you can be single this month, I would say do it, and welcome to the new folks who just logged in. Feel free to say hello in the chat. Out yourselves, please. I always love knowing who is here. So starting off with Ace of Cups reversed for this month. interesting is that, as I just said, we are in a Venus retrograde, I believe, starting today until, don't quote me, I think the middle of April. So Venus retrograde, to me, that matches up really nicely with this Ace of Cups reversed, right? Ace of Cups, when it's right set up, is like new romance, all these things. Ace of Cups reversed is like, we're actually not going to be focusing on initiating new romances at the moment. We actually should be perhaps focusing on ourselves and filling our own emotional cup for this month of March 2025. Pour into yourself. Do the self-care stuff. Go get a massage. Do whatever makes you feel emotionally fulfilled. Treat yourself the way that you want other folks to treat you. And welcome to everyone who is just joining. Feel free to say hello in the chat and let me know who you are and where you are viewing from if you're comfortable. Really interesting card to start us off because, as we know, Venus, I'm pretty sure, is in retrograde for all of this month. So pour into your own cup. Don't wait for anyone else to do it for you. I think that is a losing game this month. We don't need to really be focusing on that. Next up for them. Oh, hello again, Stig. I noticed you before. Hello. All right. Oh, hi, Ashley from Oregon. I love that. Hello, everybody. I always love when y'all say hello. So our next card for the month of March is Death Reverse. So a lot of people are freaked out when they see this card. Don't be freaked out. Death tends to just represent transformation, okay? So this month, what we're really going to make sure we don't do is block our own transformation. We're going to want to instead move towards our transformation. I'm going to pull a few cards on that specifically. What are we avoiding? What type of transformation are we avoiding? Okay, got you. We got these two upright cards for what we are potentially avoiding and what we need to actually transform around. So what I'm seeing here with this King of Wands, that could be potentially a male influence, that could be a father, that could be a lover, a partner, someone we've dated in the past. What we definitely don't want to be doing this month is entertaining that person, going back to that, and I just dropped that death card. So if we move backwards, we're going to be avoiding this transformation, right? So we do not want to be reconnecting, reinstigating any relationships, especially love-related relationships, this month. Leave your exes in the past. Leave your situationships in the past. Do not rekindle any romances this month. Venus is in retrograde. People are more likely to come up and say hello. Obviously, we all know that that tends to happen during Mercury retrograde. Everyone from every which way that we knew for 5 seconds is sending us a hello. People that we forgot existed, they're all up on our shit. Venus retrograde is a little bit more serious. It's going to be people that you had a stronger connection to. So it's likely that they're going to be a little bit harder to ignore, harder to say no to, etc. So we're going to want to make sure that we do not get sucked into someone's energy. And this doesn't have to be a man. It's likely someone with some kind of masculine energy, but I think it is much more likely for my folks who are dating men, especially women who are dating men, to be aware of this tendency, this dynamic, right? So we've also got this Three of Swords. Remember the heartbreak, right? Remember the heartbreak and allow that to be a lesson and a teacher to you. For Venus retrograde, my friends. We do not want to have this heartbreak and these horrible things happen and then just end up in the same situation next month or next year or whatever. We don't want that. Obviously, we don't want to live in fear. We don't want to cut ourselves off from potential happiness or success or anything like that. But we also don't want to be living on repeat. So remember what this situation was, whatever this was for you. I'm going to put this down for now. Remember what the heartbreak was. Spend this month mending the heart. Cry whatever tears you need to cry. Heal the wounds of your heart, right? And I think that's part of why we don't want to be instigating any new romances this month. We don't need to do that. This is a focus on us, heal ourselves, pour into our own cup type of month. If we are leaning into, let's say, dating and rekindling situations with people that maybe we're not a good fit, potentially people that harmed us, potentially people we want an apology from, that is just going to be blocking our own transformation and blocking our own growth. What we really want is to be moving forward, to be transforming, to allow whatever our injuries and pain happen to be, to actually be a lesson and a teacher for us as we move forward, as we transform. And I do think the Venus retrograde vibe is really quite perfect for that, really. So let's keep moving. So what else do we got? And someone is asking where in Canada am I from? I'm actually from Quebec, French Canada. Bonjour. But I live in Toronto. So anyway, March 2025, we've got the Queen of Cups reversed, interestingly, right next to the Queen of Pentacles upright. So these are both very feminine energy suits. Obviously, the Pentacles and the Cups, earth and water, are the more feminine energy. Also the more solid elements, right? Air, fire, a bit more ephemeral, more masculine energy suits, much more about doing. These two are much more about receiving energy. How can we, again, fill our own cup, bringing us back to that first card that we pulled for this month? It's going to be a time of receiving, working on our feminine energy, especially since these are two queens. I don't think that's an accident that we've got two queens here, both in the feminine energy suits. So especially if you are women listening to this, I know not everyone here is, but if you are someone who is identifying in that manner, focus on filling your own cup this month. This is, again, a self-care month. This is fill your own emotional cup, see your friends, watch your comfort shows, revitalize your home, because Pentacles, again, are all about what is our physical environment. And that can be around work, but I'm not going to read this Queen of Pentacles that way. What I'm going to say about this is, what type of spring cleaning do you need to do? What type of beautifying do you need to do? Are there any renovations that you're putting off? Do you need to, I don't know, Swiffer your floors? I'm speaking for myself. Do you need to do your laundry? Do you need to revitalize your home environment in some kind of way so that it can be a nice container for you, even more so than it is right now? What can you do with your physical surroundings to make it more hospitable, as like a nice cocoon to hold you nice and safe? And let's see, Stig is saying, I am French. I'm half French, half English. And thank you for liking the room that I'm in. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like creating that space that just oozes your own energy, that can fill your cup just by being in this space. That is a hugely important thing. And Tarot Shrink, hi, so nice to see you here. You're saying fill your own cup literally as you're driving to a tower massage. Yes. Way to start this month. Good to see you. Oh, so good to see you. And I love the idea of a 2-hour massage. I've never had a massage longer than an hour. So that sounds like a genius idea. I just might take some inspiration from the fact that you're doing that. I think that's amazing. The last massage I got was a Chinese traditional massage. It was the most painful experience I've ever had in terms of massage, but it was amazing. I felt like completely revitalized afterwards. All right, so Queen of Cups reversed. So we might be tempted to allow this sad vibe, whatever this is, to disconnect us from our Queen of Cups energy, right? If we might be feeling like, oh no, the romantic things aren't working out, or if they are for you, high five for you. Maybe these two cards are not about your exact situation, but I do know these are going to be relevant to some folks. If you are feeling hesitant to pour into your own cup, if you are someone who wants to focus more on the external, notice how refusing to focus on yourself and filling your own cup actually depletes your relationship to your own power, right? When we fill our own cup, when we treat ourselves the way that we want others to treat us, that actually changes our entire auric field. We vibrate completely differently. And so interestingly, when we do fill our own cup, we become much more magnetic. We become much more likely to receive the blessings of the universe. I realize it sounds a little bit hippy-dippy, but I think it's completely true. So use this month as an opportunity to notice your own energetic frequency shift. The nicer you are to yourself, the more loving you are to yourself, the more you're able to soothe yourself, the more you're able to practice regulating your own emotions. Notice how much more magnetic you become to other people, and also how much more creative you feel. Cups are also creativity. Obviously, wands have some creativity in there too. I would say for me, the creative energy flow is like a mix of wands and cups, but the cups energy specifically is that intuitive creativity, right? The flow. And so notice how much more creative you get, how much more creatively inspired you feel, the more you're nurturing your own self, your own body, your own soul, your own spirit. So we love that. We love that. Someone's asking, do I have the sixth sense? Maybe. I think everyone can access it, to be honest. Just I think a lot of people choose not to go there, and that's totally cool. But I think anyone can get there if they want to. All right, next up, Five of Cups reversed. If you are being bummer town about something, I think some of us had breakups last month, or some disappointments. If that is you, just make sure that you're putting that in its right-sized box. Don't mourn for too long. This card tends to come up when we are wallowing, when we are being miserable, when we don't really need to be miserable. Like this card comes up upright when it's like, okay, we need to mourn, we need to feel the sads. That's appropriate. The reversal is like, okay, now maybe the sadness has overstayed its welcome. It's time to just move on. It's not serving us anymore to stay in that headspace. So feel sad, don't block it, but also don't stay there too long this month. I think that's a really important message. Next up, Eight of Wands. I love this card. It's very much about momentum, moving forward, taking action. And so we've got this nice blend of these kind of self-care, pour into your own cup, nourish yourself type of cards with this really lovely, fiery, like, let's get it moving. Let's get some momentum going. Let's take action. So if I was going to give you guys some tarot homework for this month, 8 Wands, what are 8 tasks, 8 things that you would like to accomplish this month? What are they? Make sure that you do them. That can be, for me, it's probably going to end up being finishing my PhD. I know I say that every month, but I do feel like this is the fucking month. This is the month. And so come up with that list for yourself. So I know it's going to be finishing the PhD, sending my next book to the printer, probably some other shit that I don't really know right now. But make sure that you've got this nice list of, okay, what are 8 things that I'm going to make sure I'm going to get done this month? It can be pretty much anything. It can be like filing your taxes. It can be going to the doctor. Stuff that you've been putting off, stuff that you need to finish. The energy I'm getting for this month is not necessarily a month of new beginnings and fresh starts. I see it more as an energy of finishing things, getting that momentum, making sure that we are putting, like, dotting our I's, crossing the T's, like finishing all of these things, whatever it is that we're either avoiding, that we're so close to finishing, making sure that the energy is flowing so that we can have that new fresh start later on this year. The energy I'm getting probably during some time in the summer is when I think we're going to have that fresh start rebirth energy. Right now, it's like, nope, we're just wanting to get to the finish line or wanting to finish a bunch of stuff that we've started, or just like finish the things that we've put off. You know what I mean? That's the energy I'm getting from this. Use the energy of momentum for this month. Ride the waves. Like, really don't waste this energy. This is a really good, positive energy, in my opinion. Next up, Four of Swords reversed. Interesting card. The reversal here is an interesting one. So what I feel called to say about this, piggybacking off of what we're saying around that 8 of Wands. Sometimes this card is about making sure we're not burnt out, but I actually feel that for March, this card supports that 8 of Wands. We're going to want to make sure that we are not overly relaxing. This card is a great one. It's a bit of a nudge to take that break. But the reversal, how I feel called to interpret it today, is that make sure that we're not being lazy butts for the month of March. We do want to do the things. If we spend too much time being a lazy butt, which I think sometimes we do need to do that, like, obviously we need that balance, but this is not the month to Netflix and chill every single night for self-care, right? This is the month to, instead of doing the Netflix and chill, we're going to want to, like, spend a few hours writing on our book. We're going to want to, if we're in social media, we're going to want to like make some content for the internet or whatever it happens to be. Do not waste this energy by resting too much. This is very much a seize the day, build the foundation that we've already been building. Like it's a movement type of energy. So it's a call to not rest too much this month, that we can rest later. This is an action taking month, and I'm seeing this action that we're taking, whatever that happens to be, however that shows up for you, as a form of that pouring into ourselves, as a form of that self-care, as a form of that self-love. Some people think that self-love is just watching Netflix and shopping. Fair enough. Sometimes I like to do that too. But the vibe I'm getting from March is that this month, self-care is really about finishing those projects, taking the action that we need to do, whatever that happens to be. And again, I know how that's going to land for me, probably going to land a little bit differently for each of you. But self-care this month is taking action, finishing those projects, doing whatever it is that we've been putting off. Next up, this is not the most fun card, but it's okay. 9 of Swords reversed. So whenever this card comes up with a client, I'm always asking them, so how is your sleep, my friend? And pretty much every time I say that, everyone's like, terrible. Why do you ask? Okay, so this card comes up whenever there is something going on sufficiently in the mind that it is impacting our physical body negatively. So for some folks, that is going to show up very literally in that realm of sleep. Even though they might feel mentally normal or mentally fine day to day, they might, let's say, have nightmares or weird dreams or just have insomnia or whatever it happens to be. For some folks, it's gonna show up some kind of different way, like some kind of body aches or some kind of physical pain or illness or something like this, right? So whenever this card comes up, it's a sign that we are avoiding processing something. So whatever this happens to be, my tarot homework for y'all. Oh, thank you, Tarot Shrink. Love it. Planting seeds for future success as self-care. Exactly. And like, I love the Netflix and chill, don't get me wrong. Can't complain about that. But this month, that's not the vibe. The vibe is very much creation, making, doing, momentum. That's the energy. And so whatever we're worried about, my tarot homework for y'all with this card, what are 9 things that are on your mind? And then flip them. Come up with some kind of antidote to what that worry is. And this is going to look very different for each of you, kind of depending on what your worries happen to be. But let me just give an example. If someone's worried, like, let's just pretend the worry is, oh, I'm worried I'm not going to have money in my bank account for the end of March for rent. Let's just imagine that's someone's worry. So the flip it would be, okay, they're going to say, instead of I'm worried about this, I'm going to make a plan this month to make sure I do have enough money for that. And I'm going to check my finances like every Friday or like whatever it happens to be. So instead of worrying about things with no solution, this month we are going to create solutions. We are going to flip either our mindset around something or create an action plan for solving whatever that worry happens to be. Because until we face them, until we actually look them in the eye and say, okay, here's how I'm solving you, the worry is just going to float around. Like the worry is just going to like percolate and get worse and worse and worse. But really, a lot of these worries are not the end of the world, even though it might feel like it. But the more that we avoid it, the bigger they get and the more insurmountable they feel and seem, even though most of these things that we worry about day to day is really not that big of a deal. So this is just a nudge to face those things. Oh, Joanna is saying exactly the vibe I want to bring in now after finishing your yoga teacher training, creating momentum to get that career started. I love that. That is exactly the energy. So use that momentum. Use that momentum. Like it's not the time to take a break. We can take a break later. Not yet. It's not break time yet. We don't want to waste this lovely energy that we've got in March. Next up, we've got the 10 of Pentacles reversed. And so this is an interesting one. I would say we are probably going to need to be a little bit in hermit mode this month in order to get all of these things done. And I'm totally feeling that for myself. Actually, this is kind of my plan for March anyway. Prioritize yourself this month. That is likely going to mean that we are deprioritizing social gatherings. Whether that is, I don't know, constant parties or going out for drinks or, I don't know, going to the bar and watching the sports game or like whatever type of thing that you would usually do. You're probably going to need to tone that down a little bit this month in order to get all of these things done that you want to get done, in order to tame whatever this worry is, in order to really work with this energy of the Eight of Wands, right? We don't want to waste that energy. It's precious. It doesn't come up every month, right? And so we really want to make sure that we're riding the wave of that Eight of Wands energy. And especially since it's an Eight of Wands, like upright energy, I think that's especially like bodes quite positively for the energy this month. So we're going to want to say no to some people. We're going to want to say no to some obligations. We're going to want to say, can we put that off till next month? And if people really are on your team, they are probably going to be fine with that. Obviously, the world does not revolve around us. Sometimes the party must go on. And we also need to accept that sometimes we are going to miss the party because we need to work on whatever it is that we're working on. And that is a sacrifice that, again, brings us back to that reversed Ace of Cups, pouring into our own self, prioritizing ourselves. And it can feel scary to do this. It can feel, oh, we're being a jerk or whatever. But that's really not what's going on. It's just us pouring into our own cup. And at the end of the day, we do have to take responsibility for doing that for ourselves, right? All right, I feel called to pull a few more, but then that'll be pretty much it. I feel like the vibes came through pretty loud and clear this month. I feel like it's a good energy month. Last month was a bit fucking intense. And my last month pretty much was exactly how those cards were for February. That was a bit of a shit show. All right, what else? What else do we need to know from March 2025? And if y'all have not hit the like button yet, please do so. It does apparently help on the YouTubes. I'm new to YouTube kind of still, so I don't fully get it, but please do. And if you're not subscribed, please do. All right, what else do we need to know for March? 3 more cards. 4. Okay. All right, these are interesting. They're all reversed. So it's so interesting, right? So before I show you what these cards are, this really underscores what I was saying before, that this is not really a month to date. This is not a month to do that, really. Like, even if you are in a relationship, I would deprioritize date nights this month. We've got the 2 of Cups reversed. I don't see any single folks really getting into any relationships this month. If you do, I think it'll likely be a little blip, short term. Don't prioritize your dating life or your love life this month. Sorry, not sorry. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. This is very much a month of us, me. Like, give yourself the permission to focus on you 100% for 1 month. You're not going to die. No one in your life who loves you is going to die. Everything's going to be fine. Obviously, if it's your partner's birthday, do something nice. But this is not the month of prioritizing our love life. It is the month of prioritizing number 1, which is us. The world reversed. Finish what you start. If there are any projects that you really need to finish, that you really want to finish, this really is the month to do it. And yeah, you might be invited to all the speed dating events, or your friend wants to hook you up with so-and-so. Don't do it. This is not the month. We really want to have the big picture in mind. This is a major arcana versus a minor arcana. The minor arcana tends to be more short-term and less important, I would say, generally speaking, than the major arcana. We're going to want to put the finishing touches on the projects. We're going to want to finish those things. So for me, this is going to involve, finally, sending Body Magic, my next book, to the printer. Finishing the draft text for the PhD writing. Finish. Do the things that you need to do. Sacrifice. Make the sacrifices that you need to make to benefit yourself. The people who love and care about you will understand that we need to do this sometimes. And this is the month for that. Don't waste the momentum. Don't waste the energy. Oh, and thank you, Stig, for saying that you love my energy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Part of the reason for this, 7 of Swords. This is the sketchy person card. I feel like whoever love life-wise is coming up from the past, and I said this earlier, but also any new people who are interested in us, it's not the energy. Sketchy people abound. So we're going to want to focus instead on ourselves, because there's going to be people around this month who are not quite what they seem, and so we don't want to be distracted by the shiny object. We're going to want to stay focused on ourselves and focus on finishing those projects. Whatever projects we need to finish this month are going to help catapult us to that next level version of ourselves, particularly around career and particularly around our passions and our creativity. If you've been thinking of launching a podcast, like, do it. I know I said this is not the month for fresh starts and new beginnings, but it's like, if it's something that you've been halfway to doing, if you have a book that's half written, if you, I don't know, whatever part of life that this hits for you, finish the stuff. I cannot say this enough. This card has all the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac holding us in place as we're moving and dancing through the middle. And of course, this is the wreath of victory. Do not avoid the wreath of victory. Do not avoid the supportive fixed signs of the zodiac holding us in place so that we can do the dance that we need to do creatively to finish what it is that we need to pump out into the world. It's going to benefit the world. It's going to also benefit us. This is one of the only 2 dancing major arcanas, the Fool and the World, the beginning and the end. Don't avoid the end. This is calling me out for sure, because I've been avoiding that end of my PhD. I've been avoiding the end of this book. Why? Because it's scary. Success is scary. Do not avoid it anymore. Allow the energy to push you forward. Because this is kind of where we want to be. This is where we can be. Notice where you're avoiding happiness. Notice where you're avoiding blessings. Sometimes when we're avoiding finishing a project, it's because we're afraid of attention. We're afraid of people looking at us. We're afraid of praise. We're afraid of being good at stuff and having other people notice that, even if it's maybe what we secretly really want. This is hopefully calling some of y'all out. I think it's calling me out a little bit. Allow yourself room and space to create that success that you really want and likely that you probably deserve for all the hard work and effort that you're putting into things. Don't allow that fear of success to hold you back. Keep the momentum flowing. Tarot Shrink is saying, you're so excited for March to start. Just feel super energetically charged compared to February. Absolutely. February was kind of a shit show. Like, it was kind of like hot and cold. I felt like it was a conflicty month for me anyway. And that's kind of interestingly what the tarot forecast for February was. It was like kind of good, kind of fucked up, which is, yeah, how it landed for me. But March does feel very like whew, movement, momentum. I would also say, like, declutter, spring clean, do the things that we need to do to create space for our success. And crucially, do not run from our success. That's what we really don't want to do this month. I think March will be a catalyst month for a lot of us if we allow it to be. If we take the actions that will allow the energy of this month to be a catalyst forward. It's like a pivot point, right? And we can either work with that or we can sabotage ourselves and work against it. And I see a lot of people spend a lot of time self-sabotaging and working against their own best interests. And, you know, I've done it too, so I get it. I totally get it. It can be hard to step out of that because success can be just as scary as failure, right? It can be, weirdly. Sometimes it's even scarier than failure. Good energy this month. I'm excited. Those are the cards, you guys. How many cards did we pull? Here's all of them. Let's see. 1, 2. Actually, I'm going to see what we've got in terms of the suit balance and the major balance. Let's see what we got. But I feel like the energy is really fucking good. All right, we got only 1 pentacle. Oh, thank you, Joanna. I'm glad you're excited too. Okay, so we got 1 pentacle, 2 wands, a shit ton of... Oh, wait, no, we got 2 pentacles. 2 pentacles, 2 wands. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 swords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cups. So it's going to be a very emotional and swordsy month, right? So swords, our brain, our mindset, our intellect, our reasoning, our rationality, also our self-sabotage and our mental health. Cups, our emotion, our intuition, our creativity. Love that. And then we've got the 2 major arcanas, both reversed. So, but both very pivotal, right? Death in the world. Do we rush towards these things? Do we move towards completion? Do we allow the space for our own self-transformation? Or do we block it and choose the shit that we've always chosen? And making new choices is not easy, but it is so necessary. So necessary. It breaks my heart when I see people being the exact same person, you know, for 20 years. And they know they could be otherwise, but they don't step into it. They do not accept the challenge of self-growth. And so this month, I think, can end up being like a masterclass in manifestation if we allow it to be. If we decide that we're up for the challenge and then we decide to act in accordance with that intention. We can waste it. A lot of people do. A lot of people waste their life doing fuck all and being bitter and talking shit about people who are doing what they secretly want to do. So don't become that person. Don't become that person. So the energy is fucking good, you guys. I'm so excited. It's so nice to be able to say that because last month I feel like, it's not like it sucked, but like it was not great. I feel like last month was clearing a lot of debris, like out of the way. I think it did that for me, to be honest, because I had a little situationship end, and I think that needed to end. And now that that dust is gone, we can embrace momentum, right? We can move forward. And I do think a lot of women in particular put too much energy and creative power into the dating realm and not enough into filling our own cup. But regardless of that, this is a transformative month. If we embrace the energy, if we decide to ride those energetic waves. And which is why I love doing these forecasts, right? So it's like, here's the energy. What are you going to do with it? And we all have personal choice. We all have individual agency. We all get to decide. Are we going to work with this energy? Are we going to work against this energy? Are we going to move forward? Are we going to move backward? Or are we going to stay still? We all have that choice. All right, y'all. That's the reading. How fun. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions, thoughts, feelings? Now that we're done the reading? Thank you guys for being here. It's so fun to do these little lives. I'm trying to learn on the YouTube. So thank you everyone for being here. I think the energy is really good. And if there are any questions, please let me know. I'll give you guys like a few minutes to think about it. And if no questions, then I'm going to continue with my day. I'm doing a big declutter. And the energy feels like so different, even though I'm not anywhere close to being done. But I think I talked about this a little bit on Instagram. I have been decluttering over the past few weeks and getting rid of books that no longer feel aligned, and reselling them to used bookstores in the city, making a little bit of money, which is nice, but just getting rid of them energetically, my home feels different. And so when we declutter and when we spring clean, it isn't just about the material, like it is, like to have more space, but it's also about the spiritual, the energetic, right? Because our home is an energetic being. And when the energetic being of our home is clogged with, expired food in the pantry, expired rotten food in the fridge or the freezer, a pile of books that are from, I don't know, when we were someone different, clothes that no longer fit us, all of that is an energetic clog. And so when we remove that, we create space for something new. We create space for the next version of ourselves. And this is basic magic 101. In my Magic Without Bullshit course, for instance, anyone who is in it, who is here now, will know, I talk very much about the two main bits of magic, right? The banishing and the attracting. And often, in order to attract something, in order to create something, we first need to get rid of what is not serving us, what we don't want. Because chances are there's some of that somewhere, right? So before we protect ourselves, usually we're going to cleanse ourselves, right? We're going to get rid of what does not serve us. We're going to get rid of that clog. We're going to get rid of the bad energy. We're going to get rid of the fear. We're going to get rid of whatever is holding us back, whatever doesn't serve us. Get rid of it. And then we can conserve the goodness that we've already cultivated, protect ourselves, and then attract, pull what we want into our sphere. And so spring cleaning, even though it's a kind of mundane activity, there's something very inherently magical and spiritual about it as well. So as you're doing that, like, notice how your home feels different. Notice how your energy feels lighter, because you're not bogged down by the ghosts of who you used to be. Obviously, there's some stuff that we do want to keep. I'm keeping like all of my toys from childhood and all of that, like, obviously. But there's gonna be some stuff that you can release. Release. So that's another part of working with the energy of each month and the wheel of the year, right? We're moving towards March. Equinox, spring equinox, the halfway point, exact between light and dark. So we're moving from the dark half of the year into the light half of the year. It's the beginning of the astrological year in the Western astrological tradition, right? Aries season, kicking that off, fresh start. So we can move with the energy, right? It's a lot easier to attract magically or mundanely what we want when we declutter our lives. And that can be anything. It can be material, objects, books, clothes that don't fit us. And it can also be, personal. Do we have any crappy friendships? Do we need to dump somebody? Do we need to reevaluate our job, our workplace? What do we need to reevaluate? And I do think it is healthy to be in a constant space of reflection and reevaluation. Tarot Shrink, gotta go. Enjoy your massage. I love that for you. Have so much fun. 2 hours. I want to hear all about it. 2-hour massage. You inspired me. I want to get a 2-hour massage now. Thanks for being here. Always love to see you. You're awesome. And Stig is asking, where did I learn to read tarot cards? The cards taught me. So I've been reading since I was 10. I'm now 35, so math, 25 years, which feels crazy to say. But the cards taught me, basically. Like, I did not learn from any book. Like, obviously, I've read a ton of tarot books, but how I taught myself was just by looking at the cards and by intuitively just being with them, to be honest. Like, I do feel the tarot cards are an energetic being that teaches. And so, which is part of why in my Tarot Without Bullshit course and all of my tarot stuff, like, I do teach, like, let's avoid the book for now. I'm not saying never read the tarot book. Like, obviously, like, I'm probably going to write a tarot book myself one day. But I do think not enough people spend enough time just with the card in front of them looking at the card. And so there's a balance, right, between the intuitive and then the what do we see. And so I'm trained as an illustrator, right? I went to design school. And so with that, we're taught how to visually communicate. So in illustration school, we're taught that like every little part of an illustration needs to communicate something. Everything has to have a meaning. The gesture, the composition, the color, the everything, every little thing is going to have a purpose. And so what I really love about the Rider-Waite Smith in particular is that it's true. It's a genius deck of illustrations. Every single little part of it has a purpose, has a symbolic meaning. And depending on your intuition, you can decide, okay, where do I want to focus my interpretation? Like, what about this card right now feels present, feels like the thing to focus on? Because obviously, just as an example, there's a fucking lot going on in this card. And every time I read it, I'm going to, based on intuition, based on vibes, focus on a different part of it. Sometimes I'm going to focus on the horse. Sometimes I'm going to focus on all the dead people. Sometimes I'm going to focus on the skeleton riding the horse. Sometimes I'm going to be focusing on the sun in the background and those two towers, which remind us very much of the moon card. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but I also grew up in something called spiritualism. Those of you who are new to my space might not know this. Those of you guys who've been here for a long time will already know this. But I grew up in something called spiritualism since I was a little kid, and so that basically means I grew up around mediums. My mom was a medium. Her mom also was a medium and read cards. So, like, I grew up around energy work and all of this. Like, I went to seances when I was a little kid. I went to energy healings when I was a little kid. Like, even though you guys probably know, like, my relationship with my mom was not great when I was a kid. But one thing I do appreciate is we could always bond and talk about energy and noticing energy and spirits and all of these type of things. And so I was around all of that intuitive, spiritual messaging, mediumship stuff since I was a little kid. And so it's just like another language. So I grew up speaking the language, but I do think anyone can learn it. I don't think you have to be born into an intuitive family. It's great. I'm thankful for it. It means I can see through a lot of the bullshit in the industry and a lot of people who present themselves as having particular knowledge that they perhaps don't have or skills that they don't have. Very common, unfortunately. There's a lot of charlatans in every industry. So I have those skills. That being said, I do think anyone can learn. It's going to be easier for some of us to learn than others. Just like, for instance, if you already know Spanish, it's probably going to be easier for you to learn Italian than me, who doesn't speak either language. Like, it's going to be harder for me to learn than someone who already knows one of those, like, romantic languages, right? So we all have our natural skills. This happens to be mine. But I also cultivated it. A lot of people have it but don't cultivate it, or have it but are afraid of it and push it under the rug. So yeah, thanks for asking. But I do teach because I see a lot of people like sucking at tarot after reading it for so long. Like, a lot of people like never surpass like the beginner stage with tarot or magic, which is part of why I have like massive courses on both topics. Because I'm sick of people like not getting the results that they want. Like, they want to get it, they don't know how. Like, a lot of people are just so blocked with that. So yeah, great question. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? And those of you who just logged on, I'm sorry you like missed the reading. But it was a good one, and it will be reposted soon. But do we have any questions about that or anything else before I go along with my day and continue to organize my home? I appreciate y'all, though. Thank you so much for being here. Stig is saying, okay, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing. Heart emoji. Thank you. I love spiritual people. You have a lot of knowledge. The cards teach you well. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And I do think spiritual stuff, I don't know, I think it can benefit everybody. I don't think it's everyone's path. But it really has been an anchor for me in bad times. So I really believe in the power of the spiritual. Do some people use it as a crutch? For sure. I think that's true with anything, though. And do I think a lot of people in the spiritual space don't know what they're talking about? Yeah. But unfortunately, that's just how it is. I think in a lot of spaces, like online has made it really easy for a lot of people, regardless of skill level, to do their thing. But I hope you guys enjoyed the reading for this month. The TLDR, good vibes, do the shit. And do go and watch the one for February, since February just ended, and see, okay, how did my February go, and match it up with how I read the cards for February. Check it out and do that for this month too. Like what I would say, feel free to check in with this video and like watch it maybe once a week or whatever, or like just like as you need to, just to check in. Okay, remind yourself, right, what is the energy for this month? How can I work with it? Because the energy for this month is so good and we don't want to waste it, because not every month is as hospitable to our forward momentum and self-growth and just like finishing the shit we need to do as this month is. So don't waste it. Don't waste the good vibes. Don't waste the good vibes, my friends. Okay, any more questions before I go? Thank you all for being here, though. It's always super fun doing these. Final questions, final questions? Whoever just hit the like button, thank you. Still getting used to it. I'm so used to Instagram where there's no like button. Okay, I'm gonna assume there's no more questions since no one is sharing any. So there's no more questions. I'm gonna go and yeah, go clean or something. Thank you, Stig. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Appreciate you. And you said you're in Norway. What time is it in Norway? It is 1 p.m. here in Toronto. I love the internet, like, and connecting with people from all around the world. It just brings me so much joy. Everyone from all different places. It's so fun. Someone's asking, where do I see Bitcoin? I do not give a shit about Bitcoin. Don't know, don't care. Yeah, I don't fuck with that. I don't recommend other people fuck with that. I'm also not a financial advisor. So that's my opinion on that. I'm waiting for Stig to tell me what time it is in Norway. I guess I can just look it up. But thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next month. And I might even go live again later today since I'm all made up and do a tarot walkthrough. Not too sure which deck I will do, but I've got a bunch that I do need to do walkthroughs for before I sell them. The time is 7 p.m. in Norway. That's so cool. So you guys are, I guess, 6 hours ahead of me here in Toronto. That's cool. Well, thanks for being here. I've seen you on the chat a few times, so thank you. All right, y'all, have an amazing March. The vibes are so good, so please do not waste the vibes. Do the things you need to do. Fill your own cup. Do the projects that are going to catapult you forward in your own life. Do not waste the energy. Okay, guys, catch you later. Thank you for being here. Bye.